Hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody.
Welcome to March.
Yeah.
The buzzword challenge of the month is action for the cover.
For the cover.
Movement and action, which was your idea a year ago. You're so special. So I already know what I'm reading, and they have the book ready for me.
Cool.
But we are looking for the title prompt.
This and that and these and those.
Oh my God, you looked it up.
I did. I figured I should know what the hell we were doing. For once.
I actually don't have a plan. I had a plan because I saw this book, but apparently when I was watching people talk about it, it was an early copy they had received. And so I put it on my TBR and it doesn't come out until next week. So I cannot read it. So I need to look around. I think I'm in the mood for something like romance.
Yeah.
To be honest. I think I need like cutesy spring vibes. Your turn.
My turn.
What did you read? And
I read one book.
Okay, was it
one monster of a book?
Okay, but hold on, because last month you hadn't finished The Correspondent yet. You were halfway through it. Because we were talking about it and you said, I'm halfway through a book. And I said, oh, how's The Strength of the Few going? And you said, I haven't even started that yet.
Okay. Yeah, I liked it. It was good. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Okay, but now you've read The Strength of the Few?
Yes.
And it was good?
Yes.
I predicted it would be really highly rated for you.
I feel like it was a marathon. Like, that's
Yeah.
a big book. 750 pages or
How
something
big was
like
The
that.
Will of the Many? Similar?
Yeah.
But I feel like The Will of the Many is like, it's kind of like the same thing as happening the entire time.
Yes.
So you're just going on a journey and then the journey ends.
Look, somebody's walking their cat. Or they're dragging their cat.
Oh God, he does not want to do
He
that.
does not want to do that.
No, pick him up.
Oh, come on. Oh,
Oh no, he doesn't like it.
that's not
Wait, no, maybe
nice.
he's okay. Maybe he's okay with it.
He is
He's
not.
hopping.
He is not happy.
Ooh.
He is not happy.
Have you ever tried to walk a cat?
No.
To be fair, he's on his feet. It's not like he's being dragged. But he's being encouraged.
Aggressively encouraged.
I feel like with that book, there was a bunch of different things happening, so it felt like a marathon in that, like, you're doing something different
I
all the time.
struggled until I got into the rhythm because you're flipping back and forth between three different POVs.
Exactly.
POV?
POV.
POV.
Technically.
Yeah. And so it took me a while to get used to that rhythm.
Mm-hmm.
After I acclimatized to reading the book, I did like it, but it was a lot. For reading plans in the immediate future, I think I want like an anthology or something. Just I can read in little bites. You know?
I love that. Any specific genre?
No.
This is so interesting. I don't think you've ever picked out like a short story collection on our trips.
No, I don't think I have.
But you and I have both loved very many Stephen King anthologies.
Yes, I like the anthologies. Yeah.
I wonder if he has one in there, or...
A newer one? I don't think so, but
I don't think so.
I couldn't swear by it.
Oh my God, let's look around. Have fun. Okay. Short stories. We found it. Okay, I've read this one.
Be gay, do crime.
You like that? I've read this one.
Body and other parties.
That one's really heavy.
Mysterious Case of Rudolph Diesel. The best short stories 2025.
Do you want something more lighthearted, or do you want something intense? Or do you want horror? I've read this one.
Never Whistle at Night.
I've read this one. This is very good. But it's just like general fiction. This, that, those, these. Have you heard of Heated Rivalry?
Who hasn't?
You have? Have you seen it?
No.
Maybe
It's
we
all
should.
over TV.
Maybe we should read it. Look how many books there are in this series.
Oh, goodness.
From what I understand, book 2 and book 6 are following the characters from the show.
Oh, okay.
And in each book, you're following different people.
Yep.
Found it. This book made me think of you. This summer will be different. That sounds sad. I just feel like a dead husband.
Life affirming.
Ugh. This one says a sexy summer read.
Okay.
Well, it's not summer. This is so saturated. Like, this does not look like the photo. Wait, what's happening? The other ones are matte. This is very different than all the other covers. It's like way more saturated It's glossy,
Yeah,
and
shiny.
I kind of hate it. But they're moving. Look, they're dancing. See, they're dancing.
They are.
And also, the flames are moving. That counts.
Does it?
Yeah, anything moving.
Okay.
I'm gonna read this today.
No straight edges. Win.
Goodness. A Ghastly Catastrophe is my read. And then I also picked It's Different This Time, which I'm now remembering was actually something I already screenshotted the title of because someone said it was similar in vibe to Forget Me Not, which is one of the only 5-star romances I've ever had. So this is about a starlet, but it's not about her like in her fame. It's when she's struggling and she goes back to her place in New York and her ex is also there, and they were gifted the apartment building they used to live in together by their landlord when he died. So now after 5 years of being broken up,
He just gave them a building.
yeah, I guess because he liked them and he had no family.
Okay.
It's romance.
It's plausible.
You have to be on board for whatever. Oh, it's a brownstone, so it's a
You need to
standalone.
suspend belief.
Correct. It's a standalone building. It's not like the entire apartment building.
Okay.
My bad.
Okay, that kind of makes a little more sense.
Right. Multi-million-dollar property, but they haven't spoken in 5 years, so they have to decide how to split the money. I bet he wants to live there, but she wants to have the money.
The drama.
And now they're gonna get back together. Oh my god! What did you get? We read a book from a man we've never heard of, but apparently he's incredible.
We got Greatest Hits of Harlan Ellison.
I wonder if you guys have heard of this man.
Honestly,
It's the blurbs.
It's the blurbs. It got blurbed by Stephen King, Anne McCaffrey, and George R.R. Martin. He refused to be defined by genre, so I'm expecting them to all be different genres, which is kind of appealing.
I really like the cover.
Yep. Yeah.
And
Have another look. Glare. There it is. See?
I love an orange and pink gradient. Like, that's actually one of my favorite color combinations.
Some short stories that I can read one and leave it for a while.
Yeah, I feel like you could read one like a week.
Yeah.
I don't know how many are in there. Oh, it's divided into themes.
We've got Angry Gods and Lost Souls, The Passage of Time,
Ooh, nice.
The Lighter Side, and The Last Word. Cool.
You should, like, tab it. Like, put little Post-its in and put your rating for each one.
Oh, yeah?
And then when you're done, I can read, like, your favorite
You
of the whole
have
collection.
those little tabby Post-its,
Yeah,
don't you?
I
Yeah.
love little tabby Post-its. But then I can read, like, the one that you would say is the best of all of them. Because I think that'd be fun. Especially ones in the time. Like, I love stories about time.
Yeah. Hey.
How exciting. I love that you picked a collection. I love a collection. Here's where we see if I've lost my mind about this. Yeah, this is Matt. Obviously, anytime they change, like anytime a book series changes anything about the cover or the size of the book or whatever, people are going to be annoyed. Like this just, oh my god, I actually hate this so much. And it's not just the glossiness, it is the saturation. Because like even this is bright colors, like it's purple and blue. It's not one of the neutral ones. It just looks so different. Like this doesn't look gold, it looks yellow. I want to say I've never seen any other covers for this series. So let me know, like if you're in the UK, does it match the others or is it glossy like this one? Because I will order it from somewhere else just to have them all match. I'm actually looking for the first book. If anybody has a hardcover of A Curious Beginning and you don't want it, please let me know because I would love to purchase it from you because this is the only one that I don't have in hardcover. Look how beautiful this stack is. If only that one wasn't glossy. Imagine how beautiful it would be if they were all hardcovers. I've never posted a picture of my collection like on Instagram. The day that I get this in hardcover, you'll see a beautiful photo from me. Okay, anyway, I decided I'm not gonna start this. I'm actually gonna read the romance. Am I committing to the romance? I think I am. I do have a couple other books, but they're in my TBR closet and I didn't want to dig through my TBR closet because I'm doing that alphabet challenge. But I guess if like the beginning of that book doesn't intrigue me, then I have some backups. I should have read the first chapter before I bought it. It just really felt like the right decision in the moment. Anyway, I have a little bit of work to do, then I'm gonna go take Liam to the dentist, and then while he's at the dentist, maybe I'll read the first chapter. Look how big my sleeves are. I just got this from ASOS, and I thought I was getting the right size. I think it still is the right size. It's just oversized, and the sleeves make me feel very silly. I'm in a pickle, and I'm not talking about my sweater. It's a good pickle to be in. There are 2 books that I'm reading right now, and I like both of them, so I don't know what to do. You might be wondering how, why? 2 books. I started reading this one. I got 2 chapters in, and I like it. I like the setup. I like the writing. A lot of times, it's not that I can tell if I'm going to love a romance or not, but I can tell if I'm going to hate a romance from the beginning, usually, because there's just something about the style of it, like the writing itself, that I just don't mesh with. This one, I don't feel that way, so I'm feeling good about it. We met June. We followed her to New York. She went to the appointment, and Adam walks in, and just like the tension that she was feeling in that moment felt like we could get something really good from this. And I don't know if it's dual timeline. I don't know if we're going to see the beginning of their relationship. I'm hoping that we do, especially because when this was recommended, I saw it recommended in tandem with Forget Me Not, which is showing their relationship at both times. It's not just getting like memories. It's actually, doesn't even feel like flashbacks. It feels like half the book is in the past, half the book is current day. And I'm hoping that we get that, because I could feel something between them. Okay. Why did I start reading another book, you ask? Well, as a Hail Mary last night, I put in a request on NetGalley for This Story Might Save Your Life, and it was just approved. So I now have the audiobook. So I listened to a lot. I was like, I'll do the first chapter. I can't even tell when the chapters are beginning and ending, because there's all of this stuff happening. There's a memoir we're reading. There's a podcast we're listening to. There's a traditional narrative happening, and it's all so engaging, and I didn't want to stop reading it, but this is so fun at the same time. I don't know. I'm liking that one more, but I want to know if this is something that I'm going to love. And I cannot physically read both of these books, especially because I just finished a 5-star book while I was at home, just in that like quick hour, because I was almost done with it. And now I'm reading 2 more books that I'm liking. What is a girl to do? This one is about this married couple, and the wife has a podcast with her best friend, and him and her have this fantastic rapport that was established at the beginning, and we got a little bit of them filming the podcast, and it was just so fun to listen to their banter, and it gave such good quick like history on the podcast, almost like we could get an idea of jokes that they've told before and the things they normally talk about. And then we follow him the next day going to her house, and she's missing, and so is her husband. There's a broken window. One of the dogs is missing in the house, and he and like the podcast producer are trying to track down the husband and wife, like where they went. They wouldn't have just disappeared when it was time to film the podcast, and that is the question. And then in all of these different sections, there was a little like reference to something that we don't know about. There was, at one point it said like there was an incident this past August. They're talking about an issue with a neighbor and how they only communicate through their lawyers, and like what happened there. Maybe one of them wanted to quit the podcast. There was a little bit of like reference to that. And she was writing a memoir with her podcast partner at the time. And so we're getting to read her memoir, which is going to give us a little insight into her relationship with her husband, her relationship with the podcast partner, Benny, relationship with like all of these random people. And I'm so intrigued by the beginning of that book, because the way that people have been talking about it and have been surprised by it, it doesn't seem like your traditional just like domestic thriller. Like there's, and the narrators are Julia Whalen, who I really like, and who's the other one? Sean Patrick Hopkins. His name sounds familiar. I've definitely listened to him a couple times before. So it's really well narrated. I'm intrigued by the plot, but I'll just continue letting you know about both of them until I abandon one. Maybe I'll finish both. I'm so excited to pick up the Veronica Speedwell, like the 10th book in a series. You have to expect the author's going to do something really satisfying or like especially interesting in the 10th book. Don't you think? I just feel like if I was an author, I would have these milestones where I gave the audience like something really juicy. Good morning. I am 80% of the way through This Story Might Save Your Life. And I just think these last, it's 2 hours and 8 minutes, but I think that's like 40 minutes on 3 times speed. And this is definitely an audiobook conducive to 3 times speed, grasping everything, loving everything, wanting to get through it as fast as possible, because it's so just, I haven't read this engaging of a thriller, I think, since like Julie Chan. Like, I was so annoyed I had to stop reading last night and go to bed. And it's so hard to review mystery and thrillers or talk about them while I'm reading them, more so, because I don't know how to not give anything away. We have the husband and wife missing. We have the podcast co-host. We have siblings of kind of everybody also involved. There's not too many characters. There's been no moment where anything's gotten confusing. You know, sometimes, like, especially listening to a mystery on an audiobook, sometimes you just like zone out and you're like, it doesn't really matter who you're talking about right now. There's 5 different characters who all could be doing something shady, and they're probably all doing something shady by the end. Doesn't matter who did what. I'm just being real, which is why I prefer thrillers on audio over mysteries. And this feels like kind of a mix of both, at least at this point. I would say halfway through, there was an answer to 2 of the main questions, which is pretty cool. And then 2 more questions are posed to us. There's 2 more mysteries going on. And it has gotten, as much as I thought it was going against what a lot of thrillers do and what answers there are and what's going on behind the scenes, it has turned out to be more traditional than I thought. But there's still lots of room for surprising things to happen. And I'm just going to film the next 40 minutes while I get ready, curl my hair, put on my makeup, and I'm going to get through the rest of the audiobook and you'll get my reaction to anything. I have one really obvious prediction that I think is being delivered to us pretty clearly, but the character hasn't locked in on it. So I feel like that's probably a distraction. Like, I think we're going to get a reveal that is true, but I think there's something else happening behind the scenes, and I hope it's something that I absolutely don't have any theories about. One of the people, upon going missing, has perhaps left some cryptic messages for someone else to uncover. And I think that's a really interesting element of this, because I love a kind of game, a kind of puzzle. So the fact that the person has to think, what are they trying to say to me? How am I supposed to connect these dots? That's a really fun element. It really is just so perfectly paced. I don't think it will be a 5 at this point. I think it's going to be a really strong 4. So let's press play and go for it. There's someone I hate in this book, but I almost think it's too easy to hate them, that I think maybe it's not all the truth. Pay attention, girly. This is sad. Oh my god, they obviously weren't. This is such a stupid storyline. I'm starting to think we're only gonna get one reveal, and it's the thing that's super obvious that I'm confused why we're harping on so much. Such a boring ending. There was so much explanation at the end that, I don't know. This is the kind of book, I'm giving it a 4. It was a good, solid mystery. I just think this is the kind of book that, like, Reese Witherspoon would pick for her book club. The kind that's a feel-good thriller, the kind that talks about really important topics and handles all of that in like a nice, neat bow in the end. And I thought this was extremely well written, really well narrated. Highly recommend the audiobook, especially because back in the day when there was podcasts in books, it was just like the narrator reading the podcast as if they were reading the book, and wasn't giving any different inflection. But these days, like, things are actually performed, and it was really well done. I really liked the podcast element of this, not just how it was narrated, but the concept of it. The fact that the author came up with a unique podcast idea and then got us on board with it really quickly. The concept of it is this story might save your life. So they pitch kind of a life-threatening situation to you that's kind of could be ridiculous, and they make it funny. They make like, what if you were here and a bear showed up and like you only had this one item, like what would you do in this situation? And it's a comedy survival podcast, and then they take, because they're inspired by real stories, the actual survival elements and explain how that person survived or how you could survive. So it'll give you life tips, and that's really fun. Something that Joy struggles with is narcolepsy, and so that's some representation you could enjoy in the book if that's something you also deal with. And the author's note included her thanking the people who helped her with that narcolepsy conversation. Definitely check trigger warnings if you're sensitive to the most like common things, like horrific things that often happen in a domestic thriller. Something that I was thinking about that I would have liked more of is there's this element of the audience, and I like that it was integrated, but it didn't seem like enough to me thinking back on it. Like, these people have one of the most famous podcasts in the world, and even the way that they were presenting it, like actually putting it out into the world, I don't know. I feel like there would have been even more production involved with it than there was. And I think there should have been maybe a little bit more about the lifestyle that they live and their relationship with their audience and just various things. But more so, I think the audience should have been integrated in the book, because there were moments where they opened like a tip line up and a whole bunch of people were calling in and leaving their theories that were super unhelpful about where Joy is, which is exactly what would happen in this scenario. And then there was a little bit of talk of like the theories that the audience might have and how they care too much about their personal lives. But I feel like that should have been more. There should have been even more of it. And we could have had like full pages of message boards where people are debating what happened to Joy and like really interrogating her life, and people showing up at the property. And I just think there should have been a little bit more amplified with that. And then, yeah, the predictability, which I don't think is the worst thing in the world. Most people, I believe, will give this book a 4, maybe a high 3, a 4, a 5. I don't think this is going to be a very divisive one, even though it's not surprising. I don't think it'll surprise many people. I don't believe that that is what the book intends to do. And what I want from a book and what the book wants to be doesn't like have to align. But man, when something is so well written and well paced like that, and I don't have a single complaint about anything except the actual plot and how it's revealed to me, that's so tough, because I wanted this to be a new favorite mystery of all time, and it could have been. I feel like this is one of those ones that's going to get talked a lot about this year, because it's covering important topics. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't be surprised to see this in the Goodreads Choice Awards at the end of the year. I almost like stopped halfway through and was like, this should be a book club pick, and maybe I should pause it and read it all together, but I'm kind of glad that I didn't. And it's nice to have something in my back pocket as a good mystery recommendation kind of across the board. Also, if you're disappointed I didn't finish this, I just had a light bulb moment of the perfect video that I could fit this into, so I will also be reading this month. Don't worry. And I'm gonna get into Veronica Speedwell. I don't remember the plot of this one, except I think it takes place, or it's building to a ball, and I love those types of stories where we're leading up to an event, like a date or a prom. The mystery, I have no idea what it is. I actually don't even know where I put my book. But I'll find it, and I'll let you know how it's going once I start reading it. Can I say something that might sound unhinged? And you can tell me how unhinged it sounds. I might stop after reading this book. I'm not a comfort reader, and this series is a comfort read to me. That's what I think when I think of it. It's never going to do anything incredible as far as the plot, as far as Veronica and Speedwell's relationship. Like, we're doing the same thing over and over and over again. And I've had a fine time with that. And more than anything, I wanted to complete the series that I had on the shelves. And a year ago, well, a year and a couple months ago, I held up all the books for you. And I said, I'm going to set this goal for the Buzzword Reading Challenge vlogs, where if I complete the challenges with one book, then the second book, I'm just going to pick up something in the series. And that was a way to get through my physical TBR, and it worked, and I got through so many of them, and then I read 2 more this year. I wanted to be up to date. It's so fun that I got up to date with the series, and I'm reading something the month it comes out, and I think I might be done here. Like, I could have stopped 3 books ago, yet they're all 4 stars. I just don't think that the actual reading experience is something that I need in my life, because it's such a comfort read, and like I'm never looking for that. For the first like 20 pages, I'm like, oh, it's so nice to be back with these people. I love these characters. And then by halfway through where I'm at, I'm like, okay, I'm good. I'm still gonna give it 4 stars. I just don't think there's anything left for me in here as a reader who's always seeking something exciting. It's gloomy outside, and so I'm using my gloomy bookmark that I love. What's interesting about this one, honestly, here's how this book and this series could get back with me. What? Could win me over, is what I meant. If it turned paranormal. And isn't that a crazy concept? Isn't that a crazy concept? 10 books into a historical mystery series, it's suddenly, because she has to do something in the 10th book, hear me out, it turns supernatural. And the next 10 books in the series are her not just solving mysteries, but solving paranormal mysteries. I'm talking ghosts. I'm talking vampires. You might be thinking, Kayla, that's so unhinged. That's like the craziest thing you've said since you said you were going to stop reading this series 10 books in. But what if it's not? Because Veronica is pretty sure there's a character in here who's a vampire. And there's no way he turns out to be an actual vampire. And it makes sense for the time period that they are questioning, you know, they have spiritual things. They don't have a lot of scientific evidence with stuff, and vampires like could in some realm be a thing in this world, even though Veronica and Stoker are living in reality and have never pondered things. Well, maybe they've pondered ghosts before. So if he turns out to be a vampire, that'd be so sick. Let me pitch this to you. London, 1890, when the corpse of an entitled young man, I almost tried to put on an accent. I've been watching so much Bridgerton lately, and I just watched season 4. It's season 4, right? And I'm trying to figure out what order I'm going to put the seasons in as my favorites. I thought season 3 was going to be my favorite because, I don't know, just like the representation. But I really didn't like season 3, but mostly because I can't really stand Colin. And there were so many other storylines and things going on. So I think 4 is in my 3rd spot, but it could be my 2nd spot. So today I was just editing a video for hours and hours and hours and hours. And as my reward, when I was done, I started watching season 1 again because I want to put them in their order. Because season 1, I feel like I wasn't even paying attention to who any of the characters were, like any of the brothers. They were all kind of the same in my mind. And now I'm actually paying attention. I had a really good time with season 4. But still, with that said, I don't even like Benedict that much. Like any of the men in the shows, I'm not really like in love with. The Bridgerton boys are not really my favorite, which is why I think season 1 is my favorite, but I will confirm it. I don't know when I'm going to finish it. I don't know. I watched 1.5 episodes. We'll see how far I can get. But because I'm in that world, I'm in that world in here, there is like, there's a narrative voice without even the audiobook, but maybe it's also because I listened to Angélie Masters, is that her name? Powers? Something like that. Narrate multiple other books that I think I just like have her or someone in my head while I'm physically reading, which is cool. Angélie Masters. Liam's home from school.
Oh,
Can I help you? Welcome home. How was school?
Not great.
Why?
It's my bad day.
Oh. Is it raining?
Yes, it's been raining all day.
When the corpse of an entitled young man is found entirely drained of blood in a carriage next to Highgate Cemetery, Veronica's interest is piqued. And then a second victim is found, his death made to look like a suicide, and Veronica and her intrepid beau, Stoker, know the hunt is on. The 2 deceased men share one link. They were both members of a society so secretive that only a singular mention of it can be found anywhere. So yeah, they're going after this secret society. I just read a scene where they were like interviewing or interrogating a man because there's this theory that a man who was a teacher at this school, a headmaster, was a vampire. And he had all of these like teenage boys at the school who would like come into his classroom and they would have these secretive conversations. And I'm like, maybe he was just a fucking creep. But they think he's a vampire. Obviously, in my mind, I know he's not going to be a vampire, but in my heart, he's a vampire and there's new blood in this series. I talked about how book 10 needs to do something interesting. Like we need to have some really steamy scene with these people, or there needs to be some extreme reveal, or something has to happen. And maybe it's paranormal. We did indeed go to a ball. I don't know if there's any more events to come, but it was like over in just one chapter. And there was a great romantic line from Stoker and a great relatable moment from Veronica. To the unobservant, it might occasionally appear that I took the dominant role in our relationship. That, of course, was entirely inaccurate. Stoker more than held his own, particularly when it was a matter that demanded bodily engagement. While I was quicker to give voice to my thoughts, Stoker often expressed his through his sheer physicality. For a strong woman, a woman of determination and courage, there is no greater pleasure than giving oneself up fully to another when there is perfect trust. Yeah! I did it. I finished A Ghastly Catastrophe. I'm giving it a 4. Every single book in this series has been a 4. I think, well, no, we had one 3.75, and the very top 2, I think, are technically 4.25s. My ranking is this goes, I think I just put it in like the 7th spot maybe, because there are ones that I remember thinking, I'll never think about this book again. This one had a couple scenes that I believe to be memorable. And of course I like a vampire kind of storyline. Unfortunately, I don't think it's a spoiler to tell you that it did not turn out to be fact. It was just ponderings in the same way. People are thinking maybe there's ghosts there, maybe there could be, you know, fortune tellers, maybe they really do have some type of powers. In fact, they visit a fortune teller. There was really nothing juicy between these two, but 10 books into a series, can you really expect that? I don't know. The mystery was not that interesting, but it was good enough. It was good enough to finish. And I do feel good leaving the series here. And I didn't think that's what would be happening in these Buzzword episodes. But I remember feeling this way when I was reading like Finley Donovan book number 4. Was it 5? I can't even remember at this point. But it felt like it had answered enough of my questions. The storylines that were running through in the background, even though there was a different mystery introduced each time, it felt like a good wrapping up and tying up of things. And I really do think that the ending of this one, more so than a lot of others in the series, feel like a natural ending place. And you can imagine, as they talk about in the last chapter, like where they're going to go next and what they're going to do. And it just feels like a sense of peace and finality in a certain way. Not that I do think the series is ending here by any means, but it feels like it could. And I am going to retire from reading the series. It is the longest running full-length novel series that I have read as an adult. There were stolen jewels. Stoker did like an autopsy. There was some science experiments. There was an event they went to. They had a moment where someone was really impulsive and someone had to pull them back, and then they both got in a little bit of danger. It just ticked off every box that it needed to. And as far as being a 10th book and introducing something interesting, it did do that, because it was actually a callback to another series by her that I haven't read, but there's a character in here who had a moment, and it was a little, what do you call it, when like 2 different series are overlapping. Unfortunately, the side characters weren't super strong. It felt like a lot of them were just introduced to be there. They didn't really have any important roles to play, but I like that she did do something in the 10th book that was a little, you know, something for the fans. What I need at this point is someone to write some really juicy, sexy fan fiction with Veronica and Stoker, because I'd read the fuck out of that. That would be my first time ever reading fan fiction in my life. So somebody get on that, and then I have something to tickle my fancy, because that's the only thing that's really lacking in this series for me. Like, this could be steamy on top of everything else it's doing, and it makes me sad that it's not. And I'm sure everyone else feels completely differently about this. So that's it for this Buzzword vlog. I completed 2 challenges, and next up we have accessories on a book cover and ordinal numbers, so like first, last, second, 27th, etc. No idea what I'm reading for either of. Nope, I have one idea. I have one stupid idea, and I'll see you in a month. Well, I'll see you a few times before then. Please watch my other vlogs, but I'll also see you in a month with another episode in the series. Bye!